Peterson here today, and also hello to our YouTube audience. And I warned Nancy. Nancy's old hat at this. This is your third call already.
Third. Yeah.
Nancy's one of those return guests that you have on a talk show because you know that everyone loves her, and like everyone will have like, you know, all the good feels by the end of the call. So like not like you're someone I've never met, and it could go either way.
Oh, I know. And I think our biggest problem is going to be, we might go on a million different tangents as we talk, which is okay with me. I'm fine with that.
Tangents are good. People love tangents. Let me turn the sound up. Can you hear me? Okay, we are recording. Okay, I want to talk. I've been thinking a lot about how we approach our work. And I've been thinking a lot about getting who we are and our center externally. So being hired by publishers, getting reviews, matching our friends on social media, getting awards. This whole thing is set up. It's like a game set up so that we're judged externally or internally, right? Because, and I said something to somebody on Facebook tonight. Isn't it funny after COVID? It's like Facebook feels like the real world. Well, I was on Facebook earlier today.
It does. I agree.
But we were talking about reviews, and she'd said that Stacy Gonzalez posted yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. It was like, "Did you see that post?" And I can't remember.
And I saw your response.
Yeah, the exact quote. Like I can't remember, but it was something about how, you know, it would be nice if people were a bit. Chose a different way of saying things other than this narrator ruined the book for me. And I confess, I don't read my own reviews. And so I never, as far as I'm concerned, everyone loves me. And occasionally something comes up that I work on from feedback from my partner that checks my reviews. So I'm not sticking my head in the sand. Travis has a whole different idea. He checks them, mines his reviews for data. And he's like really good at it. And he's obviously really good at it because even before he published his book, he went through, he reads other people's reviews. He looks at the way to market things. He's got this like genius brain.
Wow.
I don't. And I know that I'll go in, and I think we have a duty to protect our muse. Right? And what do you think, what's your relationship with validation?
Yes.
I'm curious.
Well, no, I think, no. Okay. No, I think we will agree.
Yeah.
I don't read reviews. I did at first. I would read them, and I'll tell you why I read them. The audience wasn't huge. You know, it was a smaller audience. And and I'll just be honest, I was new. I didn't really have the resources that are out there now. And so I was looking for patterns, you know, I was looking for, you know, things like, you know, someone said they don't drive while you're listening to this audiobook because she'll put you to sleep, right? I mean, things like that. And, you know, like just this, but I mean, that was like my second or third book, really. So initially, I think there is value, but I really like what you do, that you have someone who checks for you, and that if they're seeing things, then, I mean, because guess what? I think it's important to listen to what people want, right?
Yeah, we can't be stupid about it. We can't be like, I'm always right, I don't care what you think, because you do have an audience.
Yeah. It's weird, but it's interesting because for me, and this is probably something it's just me, as the audience has grown, I don't like reading them as much. And I think part of it is like one of my books was a daily deal several years ago. And people, everyone buys the daily deal for $3 or whatever it is. And so people weren't looking for the book. And a lot of listeners were saying, I hated this book. This is not what I thought it would be, and blah, blah, blah. And they were just ripping it to shreds. And it's the only reason they bought it was because it was a deal. And so that really started to skew the reviews for that particular book, Bob. And so that's really when I quit listening or reading reviews, because I just thought, okay, what am I going to do with that? Really
and even the good ones. Have you thought about that? That was the day I decided not to read them anymore. Was somebody told me, because I was new, I would read them when I was new. I listened on a podcast, and she was like a writer, and she said the good reviews are as bad as the bad reviews, because you might be flying and think you're wonderful, but they're just as valid. The people that say you're the best thing since sliced bread, they're just as valid as the people that say that you're like, they've met serial killers they liked better than you. They're just as valid. There's someone else's opinion that don't come from inside you or your writer, or do you know what I mean? How often are you getting hired? And I thought that's right, because I'd go flying in the booth thinking I was amazing. I'm like, 10-year-old on a sugar high. And then 2 days later, someone hates your guts. It's, I don't know how people maintain that. And you know how you said the more you've got like a bigger audience, you have more books. The thing I've noticed is people are now getting me. Like, I turn off the comments on the YouTube videos for a reason. you like the show, or it's not your cup of tea. One way or the other, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? I had somebody send me an email with minute-by-minute critique of the one video they saw. And I was like, it was kind of you to make the extra effort, but I've got 105 videos. Do you actually think I'm going to go and redo them all, or change? So it's a
that
weird
was someone who had a bad day, was looking for something to do, maybe.
No, they said that they believe in being helpful.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I have nothing to say.
But I guess do you leave reviews for people for things?
Sometimes I do. Like, I just listened to one of a friend of mine, their audiobook, and I loved it. And I just mentioned, I says, I just really don't leave reviews. I mostly will do ratings. And I used to do that, but I felt like I will always leave a rating, but I don't necessarily leave a review. And I don't leave a review for the books I'm narrating either. That's just for me a personal boundary. And it's not that I didn't love it, but I feel like
we're not allowed to do that, are we?
Oh,
I thought that was illegal.
Oh no, you can. It's not illegal. You can.
I thought Amazon would like catch you and you'd be in trouble if you did that.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I will leave reviews for other kinds of things that I'm not like feeling like there's a bit of a conflict of interest, because it is in my interest if a book does well, especially if it's a royalty share, and it's still, even if it's not a royalty share, it does benefit me if it does well. And while I'm going to encourage other people, if I love it, to say something, I usually won't do that myself.
See, I always say, because I do think I don't bother to listen or read things if I don't think they're fabulous and I don't know I'm going to love them. So of course I think it's fabulous. And then my reviews always seem like total hyperbole and nobody believes me, but I genuinely think it's fabulous. So I always say no. But one person gave me a copy of the book and it was like, oh my God, it was Diane Perry. It was the best book ever. It was, my mind is blank because I'm in the spotlight now because I've completely forgotten the name of the book, but I know it by heart because it's amazing. I'll put it on the about section. And I loved her book. and it's been like a year now, and I still haven't left the review. And I need to like, and part of me is like, maybe I'll just send a message saying, I'm so sorry it's taken me. But I think it's like giving gifts. It's like, I'm bad at that too. Not because I don't care, but because I'm sure it's not going to be good enough. There's like no gift I can give that the person's going to like adore as much as I want them to adore it.
I do that too.
You know what I mean?
And I forget birthdays. I'm really bad at birthdays. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. I
I'm
forget
terrible at
people's
birthdays,
names
actually.
right at the get-go, so we don't even get to the birthday.
Oh, yeah.
But I think if
it's kind of
the
funny.
bottom, Tad said, before I became interested in narrating, I wrote a lot of reviews myself. In one case, I identified a technical issue with the recording. The publisher, Blackstone, contacted me for more information. They fixed the problem and reissued the audiobook. Now that kind of review is really helpful, and Audible allowed me to revise the review to note that. Now, see, that's the kind of reviewer you like, right? Because they didn't Hillary say one day, I think Hillary Huber said that I could have sworn it was Hillary Huber, that a listener contacted her and said, I love your narrating, you're amazing. I just thought I'd have a word in your ear, because there was one section in this, big book.
Oh, yes.
Say, oh God, F something.
Yeah, rattled off a bunch of words.
And that's helpful.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and that was a big reason why I chose not to self-edit, because that happened to me, I think twice, where I ended up, a reviewer said, something's up with the files, or there's two chapter 2s, or I don't remember what it was. I think I've done it 3 times. Anyway, so that's not my strength. And so I am grateful for that as well.
Yeah, so knowing yourself. So how do you, would you say that your core, because I'm developing this very strong theory that you get your power from here, from you're protecting your muse, you're generating the work. And that's a really great position, because if you ever have a dry spell or anything, you're the creator. So it's never a matter of, they're not giving me anything, what's wrong with me? Yeah. It's a matter of, oh my God, I've got more time now to do this. Yeah. Because once you become the creator, your brain, I'm finding, fires on like a million different wavelengths. I've got this, I can do this, I can do that. And then you end up with another problem, it's your scheduling. But so I'm really, really examining the difference between the external, because I find so many people become freelancers and they're still looking for other people to be their boss.
Oh yeah, that is really interesting. That's an interesting way of putting it. No, I think that's true. So going back to the whole review thing. So initially, I think, yes, there is a place for it. I think it can be important. But I think after a certain period, like really, I do very little. Most of the stuff I do now is with publishers. And so, I don't even have to worry about the back end of things like I used to. Did I turn in the right files? Because, I don't know. I guess my mind doesn't work that way very well sometimes. And I have made, mistakes that I've had to go back and correct. But the other thing that, as you were talking about that came to my mind is the idea of protecting the muse or the creator. Yeah. Is that I've had a couple of coaches, and I'm not going to say who, but they weren't coaches that, that would probably even, if you're a coach of mine and you're listening to this, it's not you. Okay. It's not, I'm just going to say, it was kind of a one-off of a few years ago, but I realized how a coach's words can get stuck in your brain and mess you up. And you get to a point where you feel like you're questioning everything you're doing when you're in the booth. And there's a problem with that, because guess what? There is no one that sounds like you.
Yeah.
There is no one out there that it sounds like you. We're all very different. And it's almost, you know, I was telling someone this today, that your voice is almost like a fingerprint. It's very difficult unless you can mimic people's voices really well. But even your natural voice is going to be different.
And what's behind your voice? The you of you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it made me, first of all, realize that, I mean, there's a bunch of different avenues we can go with this, but one is that be really careful about who you choose as a coach. And if they're making you question things, maybe step back, and that may not be a great fit for you.
Yeah, because you're going to a coach to interpret, to dig out what you have inside of you.
Right.
You're not going to them for them to give you something. Again,
and tell you you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's coming from you. And
yeah.
And there are coaches. I've had the same thing because and everyone will know every time I have a coach, oh my God, they're the most amazing person. But I think it's because I go to a coach for a specific reason. I ask them clear questions and what I need. I don't spend the coaching session, as Johnny Heller mentioned, trying to impress my coach. It's not a step up the career ladder because somebody's going to like suddenly know me. It's all networking. I'm going to the coach for the reason. And I have gone to a coach that worked in a different way than I did, right? That was more of a homeworky coach. I'm not a homework girl. And I'm just not. And so I'm not going to be good at that. And it's like there's the accent thing. Some people are amazing at learning the techniques and I'll just like give up my job right now. If my brain, not only that, but it starts showing me graphs of the inside of my like body and my throat. And I can't, I just can't. Yeah, I can't do it. But you know yourself, don't you? Did it sway you when it did happen with that coach? Did it take you a while?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. In fact, I had to go to another coach. This is another coach I went to. I actually listened to one of her audiobooks, and she doesn't say she's a coach, but it was someone who you'd know her name if I told you. And I just reached out on her website and I said, I need help. I listened to this book. I don't know. I mean, I just had, again, like you said, some very specific questions. I said, I need help with this and this and this. And I don't know if you coach, but can I do a session with you? Would you be willing to coach me on these things? And she did. And it was wonderful because, you know, it was very specific to the things that I was specifically looking for.
Yep. Nicole Zanzarella did that for me. Oh my God. 1 hour with Nicole Zanzarella. And I'm telling you, I could pretty much run America and Britain. she answered every single question. She was just amazing. And she kind of had the Nancy Peterson thing going on, the kind of self-contained confidence thing. And I was just going to say,
what is the Nancy Peterson thing?
You've got like a confidence thing. Like it's, I think we look in our coaches and people that we spend time around. We look for the qualities that we most covet ourselves. I mean, I have a lot of confidence, but I don't think it would be described as self-contained confidence. I don't know why, but you and Nicole Zanzarella just kind of, I think of that with both of you, just kind of quietly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Because, you know, I'll tell you something, and you probably, maybe everyone on this call could say this. There are times where I'm like, what am I? I mean, you just kind of go, I have no idea. I'm just kind of going about my life. And when you said contain confidence, I'm like, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe I should write that down somewhere.
And none of us see ourselves the way the rest of the world sees us.
I think you're right. I think you're right. No,
and we probably don't want to, you know, because why does it matter anyway?
That's true. Yeah, no. And I think there is a shift. I mean, when you and I were having a private conversation a couple of weeks ago, and after I saw your thing on Joseph Batesell's podcast, that I just went, oh yeah, I've got to talk to her. So good. And you directed me to Candy Kisses.
Did you like that one?
I loved her.
Yes.
I absolutely loved her. I now follow her on TikTok, and she's hilarious, and she's brash, and she's
herself.
She is just herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% herself. I just think it's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's the thing I
do
admire
too.
the most in people. Unapologetically in your face themselves. You know what I mean? I can handle parts of personalities that maybe I don't like, that I wouldn't want to have myself. I respect it, but it's that like having the courage to not follow the pack.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and that really does tie into everything we're talking about with audiobooks too. Because if you're following someone else's, you know, this is how you narrate an audiobook. You do this, you do this. There's some of that. There's a little bit of that. But there's a lot of leeway in there, you know? And there are some people who narrate really slowly. And if they were to go with a specific kind of coach who would tell them, you gotta speed up. I mean, pacing for me, that's like, you can't, pacing is sort of intuitive. It's sort of a part of your thoughts. It's a part, you know, and that could totally ruin somebody, I think, if they were saying your pacing, you need to change your pacing. Although I will say, when you're in your genuine comfort, you're working towards something, because I think generally most people do narrate too fast initially because they're not, you know, we don't know what we don't know, and we're going too fast typically. But I think for someone, especially for someone who is much more slow, I think that could mess with them to say, no, you're not doing it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually brought this up to Johnny Heller in a coaching session a couple of weeks ago, because I've never had anyone mention my pace. And then like 3 writers in a row after hearing the sample were like, it's great, it's wonderful. Could you maybe, you know, just in the tech, speed it up a bit when you have the editor speed it up a bit? No, no, I can't, you know, I can't do that. You either like, and I asked Johnny, I said, am I too slow? Is there a problem? Why have I had 3 writers ask me this? And he said, and he had a very good point. If you start asking yourself about your pace, stop and ask yourself if you're in the moment. Because that's when, because if you're right in the moment of the script, nobody's going to question your pace. But if you're disconnected, it can sound like you're, you know, and which is such an annoying thing to hear. Like, don't you think it's true? And we all know it, but it's like, are you in the moment? Yes.
Yes, I am.
That's number 1, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, but to me, there's a problem, because sometimes you aren't in the moment because you can't connect with it. And I don't think it's necessarily because you have a bad choice or you're not right for it. I'll be honest, there are plenty of books that I narrate that really I'm like, either I may not even agree with where they're going, or that may be completely different in many ways from myself, and I still want to do them, you know, as far as like, even politically, I might, or, you know, spiritually, whatever. I think there's always something to be gained from doing something that maybe isn't exactly a perfect fit for you. So, I mean, but at the same time, I think we still have to honor as best we can and be as honest as we can. And was it Steve Campbell today? Yes, it was Steve Campbell. I jumped on his Discord this morning and I was doing a guest narration there. And he said something that I thought was so good. And he said, am I the best narrator? And he said, maybe not. He said, but I will give you my best. And that's really what it boiled down to for me is, you know, no one's ever going to be perfect, but I'm going to give you the best I know how to give.
So, you're a genius. Because, am I? Yes, because you've just put something together for me.
Okay.
Right there, that is the final key, okay? Because it was saying the 2 things together, the Discord and that. Because I think we all have time in the booth where we perfect our skills. We're doing this for a reason. We all love our books. We all love narrating. So I think we all do that instinctively. But then there are all the other parts of the job, being part of the tribe, networking, APAC, publishers, when I went to APAC, there are some narrators that are brilliant at doing live narrating. I tried Discord, freaked me out. I like the idea of Discord, but I spent the whole time partying with whoever was listening. And then if nobody was there, I was like, anybody there? You know, it's like, no, I was not in the moment. I was like having
That's
fun with my
hilarious.
friends. You would have, it was like Discord the Kager for me, right? But so then I thought, well, Jillian Yetter does this. She's like rocks up with that gorgeous hair and does this like fabulous narrating, and she just charms the hell out of any writer that could have anything to do with whatever genre she's doing. And she was like so nice. She was like, just do this, just go on, you know. So I got all set up. I was like, well, I don't want anyone to see my real booth. That's my private place. So I'll just do it here, you know, with a fake background. I'll be myself. And I sat there. Okay, I'm going to narrate. I'm narrating. And then I looked and I thought, oh God, those are coming down. It turns out I'm not like a throw my hoodie on, be cool and casual kind of gal. Who was I kidding? I'm Photoshop, faux fur, production. Let's get some backing music. Oh my God, that's a breath. No way is that staying in. So I can't do it. But what Steve Campbell said, I'm going to do the best job I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of that equation is I'm going to learn what that is.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because guess what? I mean, yeah, I may not know what exactly your perspective is as an author, but I'm going to try my hardest. If you give me enough breadcrumbs in that text, I'm going to find it. I will find the subtext, I will dig, and I will do the best I can. And I think that's really our job.
Yeah.
You know, because I wouldn't want to do things only that I personally agreed with or I thought was okay. Or, you know, I have sometimes done things I'm like, wow, I'm really not a good, my personal, you know, thoughts on this particular topic really don't align at all, but I always learn something. And I'll say this too, not only do I learn something, but I almost always find some commonality, which I didn't realize was even there. I'm like, okay, I get why you felt you had to read this book.
And also the writer chooses us. So it's not always our choice.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I might not think that I'm the perfect voice. If I were the writer, I might not choose myself. But if the writer wants me, they want me because I'm the voice they heard. And the thing is, I think that the work for that, knowing yourself, takes place outside of the booth. Whereas when I was new, I wouldn't have had the confidence. But I recently told a writer, you know, they gave me a lot of detailed feedback after the 15 minutes. And I always say you have to be 100% happy. So, you know, I get that sometimes. But I said to them, I'm going to disappear. So if you're someone that needs the sentences to sound the way you imagine them, or you need that level of control, I'm not the girl for you. And I might get some sentences with the emphasis in a place you didn't imagine. But if you want someone that's going to completely live your characters and make you cry and make you laugh, then I'm your girl. But, and fair enough, some writers don't like that. Some writers want it. I wrote each word for a reason. I want you to say it exactly. And that's fine. And there are narrators that will deliver that for them and that enjoy that.
I think those narrators probably don't last very long, I'll be honest. I mean, unless that's maybe very judgmental of me.
A lot of the Discord narrators work that way, though. They have their writers log on and talk to them through the whole book and give them feedback.
Oh, I couldn't do that either.
Yeah.
That would stress me out. It's funny because I did have an author on a couple of weeks ago on Discord that I was working with, and she thought it was just great. She was like, oh, this is great. You know, she wasn't there to critique. I've had an editor on there with me too. And she was like, you need water. I'm like, I do. Oh, okay. She could tell. So that was actually really good too. But
I love directors. I love working with a director because they're a professional and I just take their feedback. But I feel too big of a responsibility and a weight delivering what the writer wanted. And if I'm worried about the writer, then I'm not thinking about the character. My
Yeah.
personality isn't, I'm aware that I'm
Yeah.
easily distracted and I have to like minimize it.
Well, what I'm doing on Discord right now is public domain. And it's all mine. It's ones I've picked, and I'm having a blast. It is so much fun. So I only do a little bit every day, but I find that, like, for me, if I get up and I kind of usually, you know, wander in sometime, I'll say hi to everybody, and then I'll go off to the guest narration corner or what, you know, because I don't have my own. I just use Steve Campbell's. But it's, I find that it is creatively one of the funnest things that I have ever done, because when I get in there, it's just, and it's fun if people will just kind of drop in, you know, and they'll listen and they'll say, hey, you know, they give you their, you know, they cheer for you, or they say, or they, you know, they're just there listening. And
it is,
feel
it's like a
that's,
party though, but it's like a
yeah,
party.
it
But
is.
then I forget about work. I don't actually deliver the work. And the live ones where I was just doing live myself, and we've talked about this, and I think I've been more than candid with the audience. I feel fat now. I think I'm fat. So I feel very exposed standing there narrating, because it was like being in theater. When I was my thinnest, happiest self, I was a star. And are you kidding? I'd be taking the bows and lapping it up. But if I felt fat, it was always there in my brain. No matter what I did,
that
that pressure.
niggling.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm sitting there, but then saying that, I have no problem doing a Facebook Live where I pour my entire heart out to like total strangers for no reason. But I'm not working, because it's like, if I'm narrating and I'm fat, there's two things I can be judged for. You could say I'm fat and I'm not doing a good job, and I'm proud of doing a good job. That's my thing. You know, this world, I know it sounds silly, but you have to be brave to be yourself, which is such a, what is it, the first world problem? It really is. Yeah. You know, but
yeah,
I think
I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I worry that social media, we focus on all this stuff, you know, but then, and then there's like things going on in the world. Do you know what I mean? But when I worked for my old company, I used to get really bad headaches. And I know a woman came up looking for charity for children. I'd been whining about my headache. And I was like, oh God, you know, I feel really guilty. And she was like, but you can't not live your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think it's easy to, especially right now, because I mean, we're over here and, you know, we're complaining about this and that, and the things that really don't matter, you know, all the things that are controversial over here. And there's a huge war happening you know, in Ukraine.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, in a way, it's like, there's only so much we can do personally for that, right? I mean, maybe we donate something, or we, you know, I'm sure there are many ways to be of help, but I kind of agree with what that woman said, because I feel like that doesn't minimize the things that everyone else is going through too.
If you keep I hate this because it comes up on every self-help book and podcast, but you know, the mother on the plane with the oxygen mask, you gotta put it on yourself first or you'll be dead before the kid gets it, you know.
Okay, I have to tell you, I have one of my favorites. I don't know if this will show up. Okay. I'm going to see if it will. For those of you on TikTok, one of my favorite, hey, you know, it'd be fun.
What?
It would be really fun to do a TikTok on here. Just sometime. That could be really fun. Just like do it, right?
What do you mean?
We won't do it today. Well, like right now, just do a little video and say, hey, look what we're doing. We're doing the Narrator's Cup of Joe, you know, and then you just post it on there. I mean, we could do it if we wanted, but I want to tell you about someone.
I wouldn't mind doing that, because cups of Joe are the only time I have my makeup on.
Well, hey, we can do it. I mean, I've got my phone right here.
Okay, let's do TikTok.
Okay, let's do a TikTok. But before we do that, I want to tell you about, let's see, where is it? Her name is Grandma Great. And I wonder if she gets grandma great because maybe she probably is a great grandma. She's probably in her 80s. I don't know, but there she is. I'm going to show you. This is her. Okay, you see in my ring light. Sorry.
I see her.
There,
I see her.
there she's there. She is amazing. I will sit there at night. My husband laughs at me because I will sit there at night and she is like, stand in your power. She has, what is it called? It's called spasmodic dysphonia, which is her voice wobbles. It sounds like she's got Parkinson's. In fact, that's probably one of the questions she gets a lot. But she does affirmations every night with people when she does a live, and she tells stories and she has visuals to show everyone about her growing up. And she had a rough life, but she also will say things like, you know, don't stand in your power. And the other thing she said is that I thought was, oh shoot, I'm going to forget and I'm going to blow it. But she was also saying things like, no one can make you feel bad, and we've all heard this, without your permission, right? Oh, and here was the one the other day. I went, oh, that's brilliant. She said, it is not your job to make anyone else happy. And she said, because your job is, you can be with them in their happiness, but it is not your burden to carry to make someone happy. And I went, you know what? Just that little simple thought. Anyway, so if we,
and you can't make them happy anyway, can you? It's impossible.
No, you can't. You can't. Should we do a TikTok? Is everyone going to?
Yeah, let's do a TikTok. This is the first time I've actually liked TikTok. Grandma, great. Now I'm going to follow her.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to I don't know how I'm going to do this.
How does it work?
Maybe I should just do it. Okay, I need to change my view.
Do you guys want to be in the TikTok? I can
Are
put
you
all
okay
on
if
gallery.
I do a TikTok?
Yeah, turn your computer, your camera off if you don't want to be on TikTok.
Okay, we're gonna do a TikTok.
We're gonna practice the social networking thing.
Yes, I only started TikTok a couple of weeks ago, and
I've been posting videos on it, but I feel like because I'm not twerking, I'm probably not going to be popular. Is that what they're all doing?
No, I mean, you know, I'm on there.
Are you? See, are we friends on there? Okay. Oh my God, I'm my grandmother.
We're not on there. Okay, so here we go. We need to do a fun sound. So let's add a sound. How about? Hang on. Oh, I turned it down. Can you hear it?
You never know where these calls are going to go.
No. Okay, here we go. Okay, everyone, here we go. Live on TikTok. Cup of Joe. Hey, everyone. Yeah. All right.
Can they hear us?
Yes, they can. I think so.
Oh my God, I am my grandmother. I am. I remember she used to call the answering machine going, hello, is anyone in there?
Oh, they couldn't hear me. Okay, wait. Let me see if I can do it. Okay, I shouldn't do this on here. I'm sorry. Now I'm being rude.
I do like TikTok because it makes me look skinny for some reason, but I can't ever figure out how to post.
I want to do that then.
I want to be cool like Natalie Naudus. I want to be like one of those, hey, I'm just rocking up, gonna do a bit of live recording, and I always look like this. But it takes me 6 hours of damn makeup to do that.
Oh, well, I think it's different. You know, Natalie's in a different time of her life than you and I.
Yeah.
So I think she can get away with it. But no,
I don't think I was ever in that time of life.
I would say though, I'm really impressed because I'm seeing a whole younger generation of women coming up who are like, I'm not wearing makeup. I don't want to wear makeup. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you. I think that's amazing. Okay, so guess what? I'm so rude because I'm gonna have to. I'll mess with this. And I'm Nancy Peterson Narrates on TikTok if you want to find me. But I'll post it on here, and I'm gonna have to mess with it later. But we'll do it.
So
we'll put
that's
it on
the question, because I've been thinking a lot about it. Because what I want to do, so I do think that your reach, I was watching one of those kind of guru people. Oh, you guys probably uncomfortable. Take all your faces are on the YouTube video. You're like, really? I just rocked up in my pajamas to watch a Joe call, and now suddenly I'm on TikTok. And
Yeah.
but your reach, right? Because I was listening after I was doing this whole, oh no, I can't show up every day live narrating. It really drives me crazy. I don't like it. But I need to find a way to have a consistent, because consistency is not my superpower, a consistent presence, because what Jillian was saying is you friend writers in your genre, and
Yeah.
you develop relationships and you talk to them. Well, I talk to all my writers. I love my writers, but no, I can't say that I've ever reached out to any writers in my genre at all, like since the old
Yeah.
days. You know,
Well, TikTok for me was, I dragged my feet. I'm like, I can't do one more thing. I just can't,
yeah,
you know, but there was always that sort of that niggling in the back of my brain. It's like, you know what, things change, things evolve. Maybe I should do it. Well, I'm actually really glad I learned to do it, honestly. I'm, you know, I haven't hit stellar numbers like everyone else. And part of that is because Book Talk actually is huge. I mean, it is huge.
I don't understand
There
what
are,
that is. I keep doing hashtag book talk just because, like, I know I'm
yes,
supposed to,
do.
but what is it?
It's all about, there is a huge writers community on there, and it's getting bigger. And so the genres that were probably most popular, romance, of course, is very popular there.
Fantasy, YA.
And fantasy and YA. However, it's reaching out. I mean, it's happening in every genre now.
Have you had writers contact you? Because I just keep getting guys that go, hi.
Okay, you can turn off your
messages. Hi.
Yeah, I've turned off my messages. People cannot message me on TikTok.
So how are you going to work with writers if they can't message you?
Well, for me, my goal is a little bit different, because I've looked up like my wheelhouse is historical fiction.
Right.
There's not a lot of them on there right now, or actively on there. And so, but I am just like following almost any genre of writer, and from them I kind of am jumping off into other areas. So for me, it's not so much about authors finding me. There's two reasons why I'm on there. It goes back, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Julie Wilson saying it's nice to just be reminded you're out there, you know. So these are also publishers. They may not necessarily be hiring from TikTok, and you know what I'm saying, but they kind of like to get a glimpse into who we are, and it puts us in the top of their mind if they're like, huh, you know, if they have a dilemma, they're like, who could do that? Oh, I think so and so could do that. Okay, so then the other thing is, you know, I do know that yeah, I want to work more with independent authors, and I just don't as much. That's just not where I am. And I feel like that is going to continue to grow just because of the ease of being able to be published now. It's just so
working
different.
with indie writers and everything, right?
Yes, exactly. So
as we speak.
Yeah.
Are you Nancy Peterson? I don't see you.
Nancy Peterson narrates.
Oh, that would make sense. So,
so my handle.
I like the idea of, if you want to do a certain genre more, I'm not getting you.
What?
So sorry, guys.
I'll have to look you up.
I've gone off on a tangent here. So this is the social media call. So
we'll find you.
I like the idea. I like the idea of doing, if you want to do a certain genre, people can hear your voice doing that genre. And so what I did was I thought, well, I can't do live narration. I don't like it. It wastes my time. I need to do my job and concentrate on my job. But what I've done is I've taken clips of my narration during the day, because I always do. I don't know if I've ever told people this, but I do my book, and then I take a few minutes and do a bit from a public domain book at the end of the day, kind of like a palate cleanser, right? And so I've been doing little clips and doing videos of like 1 minute clips. and putting them out on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But you feel like, aren't people going to start ignoring me completely if oh God, here's that girl in another one of those videos?
No, I don't think I think the opposite is the case. And I'll tell you, from a casting person, Lisa Conant, who Shed Audio, said to me, she says, yeah, I can, I don't want you like emailing me every month, but she said, but you have to know the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So there's this weird sort of dynamic where, maybe it's kind of their job for us to bug them. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of part of their job description. So, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I think it's all right. Just as long as, even if it's annoying, you're still popping up in their mind,
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
just
all
have
good.
to figure out the Instagram algorithms, because when I put a video on Instagram, it stretches it all out. I can't figure out how to make it look good. So
I'm still learning all that too. I'm really not good at social media.
it is like a full-time job. It really is.
It
On
totally
top of,
can be.
I've got a quirky question for you. Thank you, Kim.
Okay.
Since you work historical fiction, if you could live during a different time, when and where would you choose?
Ooh,
and what outfit would you be wearing? That was
okay. Oh, wow. I think I might disappoint you a little bit. I would love to be in the West, like the Old West.
Oh, cool.
There's
With real
nothing
boots.
fancy about that. And the reason why I say that is one of the best, most coolest, most amazing and soul fulfilling vacations I took was a little town in the Four Corners. Four Corners? Is that what it's called? The Four Corners? Utah, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado. Yes, Four Corners. It is Four Corners. And it was like being thrown back to the Anasazi period.
Wow.
Because
like a mining town,
were,
like an old mining town or something?
Even no, it was artifacts. I went and visited an Anasazi ruin, and there were handprints. And there was just something about that was so cool. And I'm like, okay, I am not Native American. I would be Native American, maybe, because there's something about being there that just was, there was an energy about that place. It was so amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, as a white person, I probably wouldn't fit in very good.
Have you ever narrated a book about around that time?
I did. Yeah. I narrated one, and this was, so it's weird because obviously we want to talk about diversity and inclusion and, all of that. This book was written for an extinct people, basically. And it was written for a people who were in, I don't even remember. Oh gosh, it's been a while, but it was written by archaeologist couple. They write books. And it was so rich and so beautiful. And, I felt like I'm just like, I kind of had to make up, because they don't know really what they were like. But it had that same feeling about it. And suddenly this intense spiritual and magical feeling about it that was just really incredible. So, that's the answer that I just gave you really surprised myself, I'll be honest, because I also love London. I would love to come visit you. I love London, and I would love to go back like 100 years in London too. But here's the thing, always in my mind, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe things weren't that great.
No, they're like dirty and stinky.
Yeah,
like the 1950s. Okay. I heard it stinks.
Yeah, there's always the flip side.
Right? Yeah, I'd love to go back. I'd love to go to the 1950s. Stephen King does a book. And the 1920s.
The air was full of coal smoke. Yeah. Because they burned coal at their homes. It was.
I think the 50s, so it was the sewer.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I heard that it was the sewer, that things smelled a lot like a sewer everywhere, and cigarette smoke in every building.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That wasn't a thing back then, was it?
Yeah. And I don't like
So,
smells, so I might have a problem.
yeah.
But I like the cleanness. I used to collect, okay. I still do collect 1950s 1950s and 60s home economic books,
Oh,
right?
really?
You know,
I have one.
do you? Which one
I
do you
have one.
have?
Okay. Mine is not a home economic books. It's a cookbook, but it's
Oh,
not really a cookbook.
can you send
It
me a picture of the cover so I can see if I can get it for myself, because I'm always
it
on the
has a
lookout.
beautiful hand with a woman on there, and she's got the big smile. I mean, it's totally what you see. But it's so funny because it's actually a service manual for a chamber stove, but it has recipes in it. But I restored a chamber stove from the 1950s. So I have this giant red cast iron and chrome stove in my kitchen. And so I mean, I could go get it right now, but we won't do that. But it is so cool.
I love those. I detest every single thing about like what they thought about life and women and all that. I get that. But when I was a little girl, my mother was a teacher, and she'd take us to these places where they'd put the books that they weren't using anymore, and we could pick all the books we wanted. We got all these A New You and How to Eat If You're a Ballerina, and how to and what's your PQ, personality quotient, total 1950s. That's like a classic.
Really?
But what I loved about them was when you decorate your room, there's something for everything. There's the lamp by the bed. There's the mirror in the closet. The way life was set up was you had the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner. You balance things out. You go to sleep at a certain
Very
time.
structured.
Yes,
very structured.
the way a really good
No
parent
wonder
would
the
raise you.
60s happened then, because there was like the swing of the pendulum. People were like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
don't
think
know.
that's
I
what
think
appeals.
It's so interesting. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know if that was a good answer. It just sort of,
That was a great answer. Are you kidding?
because I would just still, if you go down there are places that almost feel sacred. I don't know how the word to use. There's something very special. And
Well,
I
they
feel
say
like
that
I'm an
energy
observer.
stays.
It feels like it to me.
Right.
I mean, it feels like it. So it's like, but I want to honor that too, because like I said, I am as wide as you can get. I am from, my people are, Great Britain, Wales. I would like to go there again, but seriously, but going there, sorry, I'm just kind of, anyway.
No, but this is exactly the call I needed and wanted tonight. Do you guys not feel, and I've noticed it on social media, somebody posted, I can't remember who, I think Rebecca posted, can somebody point me to like a feel good call? I think we're all like, we're chomping at the bit because you know how seasons, spring is like a rebirth, like things you do your spring clean, you get outside, you enjoy, and it's been a while. We've all been kind of holding on with our cold blue fingers, to get through.
Oh, and I really feel like, of course, we can always just go, it's the default is the pandemic, but you know what? I think it really has impacted in some ways that we still are trying to understand.
It has. I think we're just now starting to feel better.
I think it's changed a lot of things. I know it's changed me. Anyway, it's just, there's just so, and I am looking forward to things sort of, I know we talk about going back to norm, how it probably never will be normal again, but at the same time, it's like, but I almost feel, and my hope is, okay, this is my hopeful, optimistic Pollyanna-ness coming out. And it is that I hope that this pressure cooker that we have been in for the last couple of years, we are going to emerge from that. It's going to, we will all have just be like, we are okay, and we're going to be even better, and we all have some battle scars in some ways. I mean, you've lost people, or my health has been terrible from various reasons, and our mental health has been just off the charts bad. But anyway, just, I don't know.
But
I'm optimistic.
but this phone call, that's right there what I realized. This was the strangest cup of Joe call I've ever done. And in the coolest way, but in the coolest way, because we jumped from one subject to another. And if I say so myself, I think we were really smart. Like everything we brought up was this like
Okay.
deep, well thought out, wow. And another thing, but I think we've been thinking and we've been collecting and we've been changing and we've been transforming for years now. And now we're ready to like, look, and I've got this idea here and I've got this idea here. What's the new world going to look like? That's what it feels like.
It's like the cocoon. We're all emerging
Yeah.
from the cocoon. We've been trapped in the cocoon. We're ready and we're struggling to get out. And I think there is good at the end of that. And that's my hope. And that's what I'm gonna just believe that.
No, I know. I don't even have to believe it. I know it. I know it because all the brilliance, all the calls have changed over the last year. Even it went from like a kind of not really heavy, but a deep. These are serious matters. How do we navigate around this? But more and more, I'm noticing people online. They're like ready. They're like, okay, let's get some good food. Let's get a good walk. Let's pull back the things we want and tie it together with the things we now know. I love that.
And I will add with that, I think a lot of us have stripped away the things that really don't matter. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We've all got stuff we're dealing with. We've all got our issues. We've all got things that, make us feel weak or vulnerable or whatever. But, I think a lot of the things that maybe were a big concern before just maybe aren't.
You have to have a sense of humor when you've been we've all been living in our pajama bottoms for 2.5 years. Right?
Yeah.
We can't be all la-di-da anymore because we know who we are. Except
it's true.
The health thing, I took Anna Clements talked me into taking, because I was like, I stayed up too late working last night again. I was gonna, for my health, wake up early, last chance, I'm gonna fix myself. Didn't wake up. Anna's like, look, just take a little walk during your lunch break. Take a lunch break. Stop recording and take a little walk. And I left the house and I realized that COVID, the one thing it did, it made me realize that I can't stand exercise and I would personally be perfectly happy staying in my flat working.
Me too.
I'm not going to pretend anymore. I only ever did it to be skinny my whole life. Now I hate it. And now I know I can get away with it until it kills me.
Oh, and see, my result is just the opposite because I'm like, this, I would say of all all of my years, the last, let's say starting from January backwards, the last 6 months was the hardest experience I have ever faced in my life. It put me in a really bad place. And I've gone through a divorce, so I've seen some bad stuff, right? But it was bad enough that I look back at my own thoughts and I'm like, I can't believe the things that were going through my mind. I cannot. And anyway, so where was I going with that?
But doesn't it make you value when you come out the other end? It really makes you value.
Yes. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So, and with that, I think I gained like 40 pounds, and I'm just owning it. It's like, I gained a ton of weight. My mental health was not good. But I have made a decision, and I'm not saying you should do this, but I'm doing yoga with Adrian.
I tried. I don't understand how people do that without breaking your bones.
Okay. No, I am like, this is a struggle for me. I'm like, I'm going to do something that I don't like. And I know I don't like it. So I'm kind of in the same place you were. It's like, I used to love to run. I would run every day, like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was out the door, and I just haven't, I'm in a different place now, but I'm like, I don't want to, and I'm going to do it. And I don't even want to, but that's one thing for me. I think that is important to me. So I don't know if I'll ever lose the weight that I gained. I don't know. It may not. But for me, there were two things that I found valuable in doing that. And one was today, she just said, just be still. And I have found through this whole thing, I am struggling with just being still. I'm having a hard time. It's like, I can't just sit. And I haven't always been like that. But, you know, today it was like, okay, you know, just sit.
Do you know what? I've tried box breathing, and I can't, all those podcasts about breathing and all the lengthy details and all that, but this was simple enough. This and something I heard in some woman's meditation practice was you say, I am here, which pulls you, because like you never think I am here right now. And then you do box breathing, which from what I understand, the only way like I could convince myself to do it, you're breathing like in a box. So breathe whatever count you can breathe. Breathe into the count of 4, hold to the count of 4, breathe out to the count of 4, hold to the count of 4, in 4, hold 4. That is simple, even when I'm in like overthinking stage. And it actually does make me feel like calm for like 10 minutes, which is shocking because I'm not like a calm kind of person. But box breathing, it's quite
That's
something.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's another result for me is with all this social media and I mean, craving, you know, being with people. There is, even though I would say I could be an extroverted introvert. I'm more of an introvert. I enjoy just solitude, that, you know, that's just how I am, how I was made, whatever. But I can be extroverted and I enjoy that too, but it's more draining on me. But I feel like because of all of this, like all the social media and all of that, I am having a more difficult time shifting back into just that I am here. I'm really struggling with that because I do. And I think for me, it's because I am going, okay, did I do this? Did I do blah, 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 you know, and because there's so many more avenues that I think we feel responsible for. Did I, especially if it's part of our work, which for me it is, right? Probably for you too.
But compartmentalizing helps a lot. I've color coded because I do have a crazy schedule every 15 minutes, like for the rest of my life mapped out. And I change the schedule before I change my actions, like the schedule's first. But the thing that is helping me a lot, and it's really, really been kind of a game changer, is that I allocate hours to things. And just the way my brain works, it has to be like a clear cut. I'm weird, but I allocate hours to things. So, or an hour and a half. So if I'm recording for an hour and a half, that's it. That's one thing at a time. I'm recording for an hour and a half, and I get to do anything I want to do afterwards, which I don't. I lie to myself because I've got another thing. But that hour and a half, I have to do an hour in the morning with the bird. That's his time. That's my hour. Cooking his vegetables, sitting with him. That's an hour. Can't do anything else. I've protected it. I've put a bubble around it, and that's stopping me feeling scattered and going through the to-do list and everything. And also the thing that is a game changer, but I haven't been able to do it, is I haven't been able to do it. I'm not going to lie to you guys and pretend I do, but you should all do this. Not put your phone on or check your email or social media until you've at least had an hour in your day to yourself. You should have that first hour. And Anthony Meindl is like, he screams and cries at people to stop doing it, because social media, the internet, it's all those notifications, they're rewiring our brains. They really literally rewire our brains. We're like Pavlov's dogs, you know, and dopamine, people think dopamine is satisfying you. Dopamine is not satisfying you. Dopamine is increasing your craving for more. Wow. So every time you get a dopamine hit, you get more desire. You don't get satisfaction, you get desire. So every
That
time you
is
get a
really
ping,
interesting.
you want more. Your capacity for more, for wanting
Oh,
more.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense for sure.
That's why
I
you're never
agree.
satisfied. That's how you become an addict. And, you know, that's how people, and I know, I mean, I'm aware because
Well, see, that totally makes sense because like for me, it's like, have I always been this just like, I can't sit still and just be? I
yeah,
don't
no,
think so.
you can't. And
I
a
think
movie,
I think that is more of a, yeah.
can you enjoy a movie? Because you know
Okay,
those,
I do love a good movie,
can you
honestly.
turn off and enjoy it and like
Um,
completely pay attention?
yeah.
See, I can't. I'm checking my phone during the movie now, the
Oh, are
whole
you?
time.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
sad.
Yeah. It's a thing. I think it's conditioning us, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Wow.
it's sad. It's an addiction and it's not good. Tad says The Molecule of More by Daniel Lieberman and Michael Long, a book. Ooh, I'll have to get that one. Thank you,
Yes.
Tad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to write that down.
I love that kind of thing. I think it's fascinating. And I do know that I am literally, I learned this when I tried to turn my phone off. I literally put my phone in the room with the bird, my last bird, when I put him to sleep. So I wouldn't want to go in and wake him up. And
Oh, that's
I
smart.
got my spare phone out. I lasted 15 minutes, 15 minutes in 2 years of trying to stop.
Oh, how do we navigate this?
Well,
This is so
Audible has a
tricky, isn't it?
timer. I don't let myself listen to podcasts. I listen to an audiobook at night
That's
and I
true.
put the timer on so it turns itself
Mhm.
off.
Mhm.
That's one thing. I do listen
Yeah.
to thrillers and horrors before bed, so probably not so helpful. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get there though. I like it. I
Yeah.
felt the energy on this call. You deliver energy like no one else. It's like,
Oh,
this is
thank
going to be
you.
one for the record books. I'm surprised because I was
Thank you.
telling Nancy, I don't know, after a few calls, I kind of secretly hope that I haven't asked all the questions.
I know. I'm that way too. I'm like, well, what are we going to talk about? I'm not really sure. But I will say, this is the first call that I have gone with this look, with no hair.
Fabulous.
And yes, and isn't it ironic that all this with the whole Jada Smith, Pinkett Smith thing
I didn't
happened?
want to
Like,
bring that. Wasn't that weird that you
it was
like,
weird because it was all happening at the same time. Because I was like, people were asking me, do you have cancer? And I'm like, thankfully, I do not have cancer. I have an autoimmune disease where my hair fell out, basically. And then that happens. Like, I'm basically on Facebook saying, you guys, thank you for asking, but this is the situation.
yeah,
And a great outpouring of, not only support, but also people saying in the private comments saying, thank you, because I'm going through the same thing and I'm terrified and it's freaking me out. And these are young women. I'm doing this for my 32-year-old self, I'll be honest, because I'm like, you know what, especially in that age, I think you're just, there is so much tied up in your appearance. It's just how it is, right? And I'm like, I'm doing this for my old self, who was scared, who was freaked out, and was like, am I looking more like a manly, and has this impacting my, am I feminine? I mean, all these weird things go through your mind, and especially when it happens really fast. And so anyway, but yeah, it was like the timing was just
it
so
was
weird,
shocking. And
wasn't it?
I have to say, okay, I have a confession. You made me
Okay.
realize something because
Okay.
I saw because when you first told me about it, I was like, why would anyone judge anyone on that? But I get that it's probably hard when it's you. And I equated it to my struggle with weight, right? Because you think, is there a time in my life? Can I connect to that place to see how she would feel? And I hadn't clocked the one time that I could have connected. So you went on Instagram and your message, I messaged Nancy afterwards and I was like, that was pure power. Any woman that is going through that sees that message, you literally were like giving them and I remembered that when I was diagnosed and trying to find that connection and that understanding with how you were feeling. And I remembered when I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And he said, well, it's benign, but if we don't operate now, you could die, you know, because it could explode, long story short. And I was like, does that mean that I have to have chemo? You know, all I cared about, I didn't care about having surgery. I didn't care about having a brain tumor that I could literally die. Like that day, I cared about losing my hair or having a scar on my head. That was it. And I was, and I could not have handled that in my mind. I'm sure I would have handled it if I had to. But at the time, that was like the worst thing that could have happened to me. And right there is the impact of like, when you see something happening to someone else, we read books, we watch movies, we see things happen to someone else all the time. We think we understand how it would feel, but you don't understand how it would feel until you're that person.
Yeah.
You know, you never understand until you walk in their shoes.
No, I think that's absolutely true. I think we can try to. I think we can, like you did, sort of put yourself in a position and try and think about it, but we don't. And I think you're speaking to is this unwritten, unspoken law about what it means to be a woman.
Yeah.
And this idea that, and the thing that really, I don't know if you saw this one, where the guy, I was on TikTok just scrolling through, and there was a gentleman, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to call him a gentleman. I would hope that maybe, you know, he would rethink his position, but he basically said the whole thing with the Oscars was Jada's fault. And it was her fault because she wasn't wearing a wig. And that women, he's those words. And he also said, women with a medical condition should wear a wig. He said that. He also said a woman's hair is her crowning glory. And you should have, that's just something that you should do.
Because so it's our job to appear the way we're supposed to appear, not to be as human beings, but to appear.
Right. So that really got me. And I thought, okay, is it, because I've worn wigs, they're not comfortable and they're not good for you either. They're not good to wear. And some people wear them all the time because they don't want to take them off, and they won't even let their partner, their spouse know. They wear them all the time. So there's something shameful about it. There is something shameful about it. And that's sort of under an undercurrent that's permeating. And so my big question was, why? Why is it? Why is it? And that's really what got me going, I don't have to do this. And, you know, it's one thing for me to walk around my house without a wig. My family's used to it. It's not a big deal. But if the doorbell rings, man, that wig's going on, right? And I'm like, why? Why? So I don't know. I've just felt like this idea that it's my job to, it's not my job to make you feel comfortable by wearing a wig for you. I'll do it when I want to, you know, if I want to wear it for whatever reason, and sometimes I still do. But I'm here saying, you know what, why? I think for me, that's the big question. Why to the universe? Why do we have that expectation?
Yeah.
You know, this unwritten idea that women should have hair. And if they're, you know what, you see a guy going through chemo, they rarely get a wig. So why? Maybe that's really a powerful thing to say is just, I think we need to be more curious about stuff.
And you never think twice if a man is bald. You never think twice if a man doesn't have hair.
No. And you wouldn't ask him if he has cancer.
No,
I've had that question.
I'm shocked that that people would assume that. That's weird to me that somebody would ask you that. Like,
yes, recently, that was the reason I got on Facebook, because I wanted to clarify that I didn't have cancer, because what was happening is people were going to other people, you know, either in my neighborhood or friends on Facebook or whatever, if they see me wearing a hat and they're like, okay, that doesn't look like she's got hair. Well, it's actually true. I do not. So they were like talking to a friend, and they were worried about me. And honestly, I mean, I'm grateful that people were concerned, but again, I'm going, why?
They don't see the world as and that I'm not always bringing it back to weight, but that's the only thing I can understand is the times that I was fatter and I would have people ask me if I was pregnant and someone put her hand on my stomach.
I've had that happen too.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
sorry. Yes. It's like, no.
Like, also, first of all, don't touch strangers. I'm sorry. That's disgusting. But I got the feeling I got to a certain age, and this is nothing against people with kids. I love your kids. Your kids are wonderful. They're fabulous. I have no problem with kids. When I found out that I had a brain tumor, I was at that age, right? At that age that like everyone's still holding out hope that you're going to give them kids. And they're like pressuring you, and people at work are telling you that you'll never know true love until you have a kid. And you're like, they make a lot of noise. They give me headaches. I've taken care of kids. I get it. I just kind of not for me. But like all the hormones are hitting, even stupid Mother Nature is trying to make you have a kid, right? Suddenly everywhere you're going, you're seeing kids everywhere. And like there's something, but then when I got I don't know where I'm going with this. Oh yeah, I got the brain tumor and I couldn't, that got put on hold because the whole thing was like, be alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it screws your hormones up and then you don't have kids. I'm like, I'm not going to say watching people during COVID with their kids in their flats and their homes made me think, haha, who's laughing now? But I mean, the thing is just because you make a choice, I was for like 2 or 3 years, I wasn't my own property. Everyone had something to say about my body, about what I was going to do with my body, about my life choices. Was I selfish? What's the problem? And then you get the brain tumor and then it's like, oh, she's broken. Then it's like we feel sorry for her kind of thing.
Can I interject something right there?
Yeah.
What you just said that I think is so important. I don't think anyone wants to be pitied.
Yeah.
No matter what their circumstance, right? I don't want people to feel sorry for me that I don't have hair. You don't have to feel, don't feel sorry for me. It's okay. I'm really okay with it, honestly. I just wanted to put that in because I think that, goes back to this idea that, there's starting to feel sorry. You know what? It's okay. You don't need to feel sorry for me.
They do.
And I
they
don't know.
get really, people can't, but again, it goes back to because they're looking at it from the way they feel. Because if I say brain tumor, people get they talk to me like, no, I didn't have my brain removed. Right. And to be fair, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. And then they think, oh, she's just saying that. It really was. Oh my God. I learned about myself. I became the strongest human being. When the worst that could happen happens, you learn what you're made of. I didn't have any, it was benign, it's gone. I'm a medical miracle, literally, because these ones always come back within 4 to 5 years. I never got mine back.
Wow.
Right. So it was an experimental surgery that was like a big shot in the dark. I feel like I won the lottery and like I did it like brave. So, but the biggest thing that ever happened to you, and you can't even brag or talk about it. But do you know what I mean? Like, you're being powerful.
When people say, they'd be like,
they get like, it's like when you post on social media something, oh, I've been through this and I figured this out and oh my God, I'm flying from this knowledge. And you get a whole bunch of people going, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And you're like, did you not hear me? I'm a winner. Mm-hmm. They see it from how they feel.
Yeah.
They couldn't handle losing their hair. They couldn't handle a health scare.
Well, I didn't think I could either.
Yeah. And so you know who you are now.
Isn't that the weirdest thing though, that your hair falling out makes you question everything about yourself? It's the weirdest thing. I can't explain it. but yeah, it's just as weird. But I think the thing I got out of it was just, it's really important to ask the questions of why, to be curious, and to just say, well, okay, so
Yeah.
why is this thing that is not life-threatening? Yours was, mine is not life-threatening. Still people feel sorry for me, and I wish they wouldn't. They don't need to.
But yours is visible. Yours is visible.
Yes.
I can hide mine if I want. I could just never mention it to anyone.
That's true.
You know, we all bear the weight of the things that happen to us. And I'm so glad, even spending my entire life not feeling good enough because I was in my eyes fat and starving myself to be thin.
Mm-hmm.
Even that, I bear the weight of that. And I suffer health consequences from years of starvation. And I wouldn't trade it for a second. And I'm not even on the other end of it yet. Right?
Yeah.
I've got major issues with weight and food and health, and I still wouldn't trade it. That Instagram, the power flowing out of you, the power was amazing. You couldn't trade that for anything.
It really came right from my heart. It came right from my heart.
You wouldn't have that if you hadn't been through this.
No. Because honestly, my message to anyone because like I said, I was getting a lot of DMs from other women who were going through this. And I just felt so important to say, you have something to offer the world. Yeah. That is the truth. It doesn't, hair doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
We're the sum of the things that happen to us.
A little easier. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so while I do look different, I've just decided, and it's been so weird with everything. It's just with the Oscars thing and the whole, okay, by the way, for the record, please, because I really don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. The whole slap thing, it's like, you don't have to do that. Okay. That was just like, what? Please don't go slap anyone because they offend me. I'm not offended. I mean, I don't have hair. So big deal. I mean, even who was it? The guy on The Office from Great Britain, Ricky Gervais. He roasts everybody. He did this whole thing about alopecia, and so this, his home life is obviously not very good. His wife's got alopecia, and I mean, you know what? That to me is like, I mean, people would think, well, does that offend you? No. I mean, it really doesn't.
I just don't understand how people get offended about just everything.
No. It's like, please don't be offended on my behalf. I might find something to be offended about, but you don't need to rescue me.
Yeah, and the thing is,
okay.
We each get to choose what we're offended by. Like, I get offended if somebody is offended for me. Let me choose for myself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in a way, I think you're right, because it's like, I'm capable. Yeah, I can make that decision. I am not weak. I am not that easily offended. I mean, and probably all the insults someone could sling at me, I'd probably go, oh, that could be true.
You know what I just realized? Do you know how cool we're going to be as 90-year-old women? We've got to do like a call when we're 90 years old.
Okay, let's put it on the calendar now.
Yeah, seriously.
We're going to do it.
Yeah, and dress up.
Amazing. But the thing will be crazy is, who knows? It'll probably be like with holograms.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
It'll be, who knows?
We'll do all the high tech. By then I'll have figured out TikTok.
It probably won't even be around. Who knows will be around?
Nancy Peterson.
Anyway.
This has been a joy. You guys, thank you so much to the guests, all your smiling, happy faces, and joining in on the TikTok. Yeah, it is TikTok.
Yes.
I think we've pretty much worked out the world in this one call.
Yeah.
You
guys, it's fun to see you. There are people on here I haven't met yet, but I will meet you someday, I hope.
I'm going to send you the chat. I'm going to send you the chat afterwards as well.
Okay.
So you can read what you missed and everything.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to focus on the chat at all. So anyway, thank you for having me on again. We did find something to talk about, which is nice. So I don't know, maybe a fourth one has to be when we're 90, when we've had a little more stuff going on in our lives.
So cool. I'm already planning my outfit.
Okay, I know. We should coordinate So we'll get on
Yes.
that. I'll wear something
Yes.
sparkly like I did last time.
Definitely got to be sparkly and some lavender
Okay,
in
for
there,
sure.
and possibly a
sure.
tiara.
I'm all over that. Why not? So,
Bye, guys.
okay.
Mwah, mwah. Take care.
See
Have a
you
good
all.
day. Thank you, Nancy. You are fabulous.
Thanks.
Bye,
See
everyone.
ya.
Bye.